Okay, so what will you read next?
I'm reading right now.
Hold on.
Bless you. Bless you.
It was all a strategy to get my hair flipping.
There you go.
Okay. So tell us, what are you going to read next? Hello and welcome back to another episode of Books and Looks. My name is Kathy and we have a very special guest with us today. I'm going to let her introduce herself, tell you what she does at the library, and then Diana, as I start to prep your face, go ahead and tell us a little bit about the book that you've brought to talk about.
My name is Diana and I do the bilingual story time and I work the front desk. I've been here for about 3 years and this is my favorite place to be.
3 years, but you've been visiting for how long?
Since 1999.
Yeah, so she's been a patron of the library for quite some time. So tell us a little bit about the book that you brought.
This is a book called This Will Be Over Soon by Cecily Strong. She's a comedian from Saturday Night Live.
Okay.
And it talks about depression, anxiety, and love, and how love can help you relieve your anxiety.
Oh, this is definitely, I think you're probably one of the, so would this be considered like a self-help type of read or just like a motivational read?
Kind of motivation read because she does like a kind of diary. It's a memoir.
Okay.
It does like a kind of diary of every day, how she's feeling, how everything is working out for her.
Okay.
And this book was written when COVID was really strong in New York City.
Oh, okay.
So it's sadness, happiness, and a lot of anxiety and depression.
So I think this is the first time that we've probably had a lot of the different books that we've had featured on the show are a lot of fiction. I think this might be one of the first reads that includes a nonfiction and kind of a motivational read. So I'm interested for you to tell us a little bit more about it. So go ahead and kind of walk us through what she touches base on in this book and in her time with COVID.
She started the book about the funeral of her cousin Owen. He died in January of 2020. And she's talking about how shocked she was that they didn't realize how sick he was before COVID.
Wow.
And he died of brain cancer.
Oh.
And he never let anybody know. His last days, he was always happy. He was always smiling. He never tell anybody that he could die at any moment. The doctors didn't realize how bad he was. They thought that he would have died a long time ago, but he kept living.
So did he not personally know how severe it was, or he did and he just chose not to share it with his family?
He chose not to share.
Okay.
He didn't want anybody really to know how bad he was feeling.
Yeah, to protect his family's emotions.
They say he always was a happy kid. He loved birds. He loved looking at birds. He loved playing with birds. And he was a musician too. He played beautiful music.
And was he close to her?
Around 2012, when they started getting closer, when she started on Saturday Night Live, they started getting to know each other because she moved to New York. She's from Chicago.
Okay.
And she moved to New York to do Saturday Night Live.
And he lived in New York also?
And he lived in New York, yes. And she always been dealing with anxiety and depression really bad.
Mm-hmm.
But she was always feeling that and working in a show that is that fast, that you have to move fast, that you have to know your lines fast because it's live. She always felt really oppressed and her anxiety levels were really high.
Yeah.
So when COVID hit, she was really trying to just to survive, and her depression because of him passing away. And then they started doing Saturday Night Live from home, and it was really hard on her. They had to do everything fast, and it took a lot of time they were doing it from her phone. She was videotaping from her phone.
Yeah.
So it was hard on her, and she felt her anxiety levels getting really high. So every day she would talk about how she's gonna survive, how she's gonna live this, how people is dying, and nobody's doing anything about it. How
And while still having to perform her job, I'm assuming it was tough.
it was tough to show up a face that she didn't feel like showing.
Yeah.
So for her, this diary helped her overcome that. Help her overcome the anxiety by writing about Owen, by writing about the little things that he did. That he would come to the show or to see her perform every time he could. He will try every time the show finished, he will give her a phone call and telling her how wonderful the show was.
Cecily, I'm assuming, have you read any of her other works before?
No, this is the first one that I read about her. I like her watching on SNL. I watch SNL maybe before you were born. So
And you still watch it?
And I still watch it. It's a show that, I don't know, some people doesn't like it because it's really strong.
Mm-hmm.
But I love it. I think their comedy is dark.
Dark humor?
Dark humor, yes.
Mm-hmm.
And I love it. I like, that's one part of my life that I do love watch.
Okay. So what made you want to pick up this book from Cecily? Was it something that you had like seen online, or were you looking for something related to that, or what made you read it?
I was looking online for books, and this one came up, and it said there was uplifting and loving and caring books. So I decided to read it. So I got it ordered, and I got it really fast.
So is that what do you usually like to read?
I like horror.
Really?
Horror is my thing. And thrillers. But I don't read a lot of memoirs. But because she's SNL, I said, well, let's see how it is.
Mm-hmm. So it really isn't, obviously your usual read, because normally you read fiction. Mm-hmm. But was there anything, and you said that you enjoyed it, was there anything from the book that you felt like you could personally relate to, or that just, that touched you in a personal way?
First, the love on the book. I think feeling that kind of love is special. It's really special. And then the way she copes with it, the way that she, even though she's not feeling well, she feels her anxiety, she still has to perform. So her will of performing, even though she feels like crap, sorry about that word, she's still performing, she's still becoming who she is, and she's still smiling and being funny in front of people, even though inside she's hurting really bad. So sometimes we don't know how people is feeling. We don't know how bad the problems at home are or how much they are hurting. But when they show up to work, they come and work.
Right.
They do what they're supposed to do. And I think that's a good thing. Because I think working and occupying your mind in something else helps a lot.
Yeah. Are there any of these strategies that you feel like you could apply to your personal life, or that you could feel like you've gone through anything similar like Cecily has gone through?
Well, I went through cancer. I went through cancer in my family, and I went through cancer myself. So even though that's true, when you feel really bad, but your family comes to visit and wants to take you out, even though you're hurting a lot, you keep going. You just don't show it. You just keep smiling, and you have to show them that you are not hurting, so they don't feel bad for you.
So do you think while you were reading, you could also really understand and relate to Owen, and maybe why he made the decision to keep it something between himself?
Yes.
So do you think that she was that she's encouraging to have communication with people and to kind of keep that like open line there to whenever you're going through a tough time?
I think that's mainly the thing. Communicate, talk to people when you feel bad. Try to talk to people that loves you. Try to tell them really how you're feeling, how you need help.
Yeah.
That you sometimes you cannot do it alone. You have to have help. And mostly sometimes it's a stranger, like the lady that she was renting the house from.
Yeah.
She was helping her even though she didn't know her. Just by her phone calls or by checking on her or by talking to her about silly things or how to grow plants that her plants will die all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And she started growing vegetables and eating those vegetables that she grows. So for her, that was escape.
So what kind of, because everyone, we've all gone through it, and so it's really interesting to hear, Cecily's experience and how she shared it in her book. So how was your experience, and what makes you so passionate about this motivational read?
When we got COVID here, it was really scary at the beginning because we didn't know what was going to happen. But we focused on work. We were lucky enough to be open, and we work. And we try to do the best for the library working and try to take care of the patrons, even though we couldn't see them.
So now that you know that the library is, bringing more of our programs back and we're starting to see people's happy faces back in the library, what makes you most excited and motivated moving forward?
Seeing the kids happy when they come in, they are all excited to come into the library. That makes me, I don't know, it makes me really happy to see them.
Yeah.
Doing the scavenger hunt, showing them how to do it, doing a story time with them, seeing them dancing and singing, and that motivates me to be a better person, to know that they are happy for something that I'm doing for them.
Yeah.
And I'm super grateful that I have that opportunity to do so. I'm really grateful that Miss Cecily took a chance on me to do so, to be the bilingual story time.
Work with the kiddos.
Yes, to work with the kiddos.
What is your favorite bilingual storytime song?
We are the dinosaurs.
The dinosaurs. Good old traditional, yes. We are the dinosaurs. So, in terms of me, I feel like my coping strategies, as you can guess, is doing makeup is a huge coping strategy for me, which is definitely different from a lot of other people's. But what is your usual makeup routine?
None.
Zero.
Yes, the last time
Boo.
the last time I got makeup on, it was
You
on...
just think you're better than
No, I was in 2017. I had no hair, no eyebrows, nothing. I just finished chemo, and they invited me to a makeup thing at the oncology place, and they got us to they brought a person like you, a makeup artist, and they chose on a bunch of wigs.
Oh.
Yes, and they tried like 10 different kinds on my head. Finally, they set up on one, and then they did makeup. I look totally different.
So tell us, what are you going to read next?
I'm reading right now Heart Shape Bots. It's a Joe Hill horror book.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody thinks it's really scary. So far it hasn't been for me.
Yeah, a lot of people here at the library have read that book, and they've said that it's quite scary.
He's okay.
Okay, Diana, I think we are done with your look. You're looking very business-like right now. I think you can just go and knock out some kind of corporate meeting. You look great. And the lashes won't feel as heavy after a while, especially after you see yourself. But thank you so much for coming on to the show and for bringing this new kind of read to the show where we were just able to talk a little bit about uplifting and motivation. That was new, other than, talking about just fictional stuff all the time.
And just can say, the title of the book is really good. This will be over soon, so hopefully soon we're gonna be back to normal.
And this book is available at the library, so if you just need a little bit of an uplifting read, then come and check it out at the library. And thank you so much for watching.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you for having me.